Heyo everybody, Monkeypuzzle here. Welcome to episode number 19, playing Primitive Plus, version 1.5 on the center here. So, welcome back if you've watched me before, or welcome for the first time if you haven't. But today I'm going to continue on with the building of my little pet village project here, which some folks have joined in on along the way. And last time we didn't build, we went ahead and got some beehives, Boring LP and I, because they changed the way that beehives work. They didn't no longer have their own apiary, but instead you have to use the vanilla ones right here, which don't look very vanilla at all. They look pretty creepy, but you can see they're producing away. I can peek in here because I've got a ghillie suit on, and they're using rare flowers. I filled this up yesterday night, and it's usually seems like it's using somewhere between like 11 or 14 a day. And these have a spoil time now. These are about to go, but when they're fresh at the top of their bar, it seems like they have about 2 days. So it's not too bad, but something to keep an eye on. And the way these fill up with honey, one recommendation I would give you is make sure you keep these slots full, because if you lose them, you're going to have to take all this honey out in order to fill it with the rare flowers, because there aren't very many slots in there, and honey spoils very fast. So, but it makes a very good food source, but you can't eat too much of it. Let's see how much of it my food bar it fills up. Yeah, so it's time to get back to building. The project today is going to be a little tower out on that island out there, a little sandbar island. So I'll talk about that in a second. The building project after that is going to be putting a front on this building here and turning it sort of into a village city hall or something like that. And when Seb the Gamer made this one, he made it to be like a stable that faces this way, but it's kind of got its back turned on the rest of it. So we're going to build out there. So I just want to show you first what that looks like. But let's go ahead and head out there. Oh, and that honey did not fill up too much of my hunger at all, did it? Well, let me just eat a bunch of it up. I've got jam down here, which fills up about 2/3 of my hunger bar. So I've got that. And I've also got a bunch of bread baked in the bakery. And we'll see if I need to get to that. But so out here, when I was active with the building in our last session, about a month ago or so, folks really wanted me to make a lighthouse out here. And I was a little resistant because I thought, well, why does a river need a lighthouse? But what the heck, that's what folks wanted. Or they said some sort of watchtower or something like that. So the masses have spoken, and I'm going to do it. So I'm going to build it not out of thatch and wood pillars, but out of steel pillars and greenhouse glass. Now, steel pillars is one of the building parts that comes with Primitive Plus that I have not used yet. So we're going to go ahead and replace all of this with steel pillars and glass. The steel pillars you make in the construction table. I've got quite a bit of them made in here, and hopefully I've got enough extra. So let's just get some of those going. Now, so steel pillars obviously are made with steel, and this is what steel looks like as opposed to an iron ingot. And to make steel, what you do is you put carbon, which you get when you break metal nodes, and you do it basically 1-to-1 with the iron. So it takes 2 carbon and 2 iron to make steel, or 2 iron, straight iron, not ingots. Now, if we like this, it's going to take a long time. Everything seems to be taking a long time to craft nowadays. I don't know if they made things go slower because of the crafting skill, what they did with that. But let me just go ahead till this makes something, and I want to point something out. There we go. So it went ahead and it made an iron ingot. Now, wait a minute. I thought we were going to make steel. Well, what I learned is that it doesn't take 2 of these and 2 of these and make a steel ingot immediately. What it does is it makes an iron ingot, and with 2 of the raw iron, and then it takes 2 of these and goes ahead and makes that into the steel. So Now we've got a fresh iron ingot, and that previous iron ingot is now the steel ingot right here. So just a little subtlety with that. And so what that means is also you can put iron ingots in here and add twice the amount of carbon, and then you can go ahead and turn that into iron ingots. So, or excuse me, steel ingots. So any iron ingot can be turned into a steel ingot, and that also allows you to do something which you can't normally do in vanilla. Usually once you take an ingot out, you can't put it back in. But now, since it's an ingredient, you can put them back in there. So two interesting parts about that. So anyway, let's go ahead and do this. First thing I got to do is demolish what I built. And I'm going to lose a lot of resources this way, but it's just going to be a lot quicker than trying to demolish the whole thing piece by piece. And I could get those resources back more easily anyway if I went ahead and just harvest it with my beasts. It's actually the crafting time in here that's way more valuable to me than the resources, and I can't get that back since I can't pick these up anyway. What I would do for an S Plus demo gun in Primitive Plus, but yeah, clearly I'm feeling the lack of it. I'm getting spoiled. But that's what's also cool about Primitive Plus, is it's very, very vanilla. So one of these, a bunch of stuff is gonna fall down. Maybe this one? Bam! There goes the whole thing. So it's gone. So now I can go ahead and place these guys. I'm doing it with, like I said, the steel pillars. So now we can take a look at them, and they look like that. So a really nice steel girder kind of thing. I think that's pretty cool. And so I'm making a base that is, the inner one is 5 wide. So we're going to skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and then place another one right here. That at least is symmetrical with the stone foundations. And then, so we'll go ahead and do that out there too, but I already figured out that I'm going to go ahead and put a second pillar out there just for the wider base. So in each of these is going to take 4. So each level of this thing is about 4 high, and somehow that works out even though they start at different levels. This one I've got 2 in there already, so we're going to go 4 high, and this one 4 high, and then let's do the same over here. So we skip 3, and then that means that for this one we'll go 1, 2, 3. Let's make sure 1, 2, 3. Yeah, right there. So 3 more, and then this guy goes out here. So it's not as symmetrical on the stone foundations, but I'm not going to mention that again. Clearly I would like it to be. I miss my stacking foundations too from Structures Plus, but that's not what I get here. So it's cool because a lot of people don't have Structures Plus. And let me get some more pillars and some of these other parts. So I went ahead and crafted most of what I think I'm going to need. I've got, like I said, a bunch of these pillars, and then I've also got steel handrails we're going to use. I'm going to not pick those up yet. That's a unique part in Primitive Plus. And then I'm going to get a bunch of these greenhouse walls, and these guys, the slopes. Trying not to get too heavy here. We're going to need some flat parts, some greenhouse ceilings, and then somewhere in here, no, not this one. Ooh, and I can't move. So I've got too much stuff. Oh, I don't need these on me here. That's full. And there. I still can't move, so I'm going to have to carry a little bit less. Let's do half of that. And then I'm going to need some helper pieces too. I'm going to need these thatch ceilings. Okay, let's see now if I can move like that. I can. I'm heavy, but I can do it. So I'm going to at least get this started with you guys. We're only 10 minutes into the video so far. but I've actually been trying to make more of a practice of mostly building things on camera, which is difficult because there's always something that takes longer than you think. Oh, and actually right here in the center, I'm going to also put greenhouse door so that I can actually walk through the center column here. Now let's see if I can move. Just barely. Alright, so right in the center of everybody here, let's go ahead and put down these doors. So here we go. Now this is my center one right here. Now I have choices. I can have the thing face inward on itself, or I can actually pull it out one and have it be on this next foundation, which I think is what I'm going to do, because everything that's going to be joining on to these is going to be in this outer foundations as well. So I don't know if that makes a difference, but that's how I did it with the thatch. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. It'll make the column look a little funny, but I think it's going to help everything join onto it a little better. We'll see. Maybe I didn't need to do this. But there it is. It's too late. And so now I'm just going to go ahead and build up with these greenhouse walls. And in the process also get a little bit of the weight off me. So this is going to look totally different made out of all these parts, because one, you're going to be able to see through the structure of it now, and it's going to, yeah, just look much more trussed and girdered and built out of a framework rather than the solid parts that the thatch looks like. So that's the base support right there. And then what I did last time is, starting right here, I went ahead and put the first sloped ceiling as part of the rampway up. So looks like actually I don't need a door right there. It's going to be kind of silly, so I'm going to waste a little bit of materials and go ahead and replace that. Now here's the tricky part, is coming around we need a ceiling right there, but you can't just go ahead and place that. So what I need is the helper pieces. So I'm going to use thatch, of course, and then with that thatch one placed that way, now I can go ahead and place a ceiling. One thing about the greenhouse parts that's gonna bug me with this build is that the ceilings have this little, they're raised above the slope ceilings are raised above the flat ceilings right there, and I don't think there's any way to help that. I didn't get multiple snap points when I've tried to find them, and I think it's just what it is. So that's ARK, and I'm gonna live with that. So these are easy enough to place because they're just sticking out on the walls, so we could just go ahead and place those. And the thing about this being 4 high is that you can just go ahead and build each level is 4 high. You can reach all the parts from the ground that you need to build it. So it's going to keep going up like that, and then that connects that, and then we need to put thatch above this one. Generally, now that I said I can reach everything, oh, there it is. Of course it's not going to cooperate when I say that, and then to come up we're just going to have to demolish as we go. Anyway, pretty easy. So like I said, not the most complicated build, but it works for what I'm doing, and nothing in this village is too complicated, partly because we're going to have so many different buildings in here that if any one part of it's too elaborate, then we're going to have problems with frame rate afterwards once we get this going. So trying to make each building fully formed but not too much, so that, you know, we don't get too low of a frame rate with all of this. As it is with my GTX 1080 Ti, I'm just getting 30 FPS. And my settings are pretty high, you know, closer to epic than high. I could turn them down some, but I don't want to. I like all my big textures and everything. So, okay. So that one I placed wrong. I'm gonna have to be careful of that. So we get an upper point and a lower point here. That's the one I want. And then we're gonna take that out all the way out to here. And that's close enough. That one peeks through a little bit. I don't know why, because this one actually started a little higher. But it's close enough. So I thought about using fence foundations in order to put the pillars on the corners rather than in the center, but there are no metal fence foundations in Primitive Plus. There isn't a metal tier at all, except for the steel pillars and the greenhouse glass. That's all we get. So this also is fairly vulnerable because it's made out of greenhouse glass, so hopefully we don't get a Spino come and wreck the whole thing. If we do, that's the breaks. Yeah, it took me about 2 days, at least 2 or 3 days really, of harvesting materials in order to have enough stuff to build this. Just the Quetzal and the Anki, taking the Anki up to a little higher elevation point back that way that's full of metal nodes and crystal. So that took quite a few trips, but I think I'm there now. And let's see if I can get some of these and slowly make my way back up. Every 4 building parts we get to a level like this. The first level extends out from the center 1, 2, 3 pieces, and then they're going to get smaller as we go up. It's going to repeat a couple times on the thinner radius on the next level and the one after that, and then it's going to go down one for the next 2 after that. And I messed that up again. Demolish that. So once I get into a groove here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fast forward this and get the thing built, because I'm not sure how much of this you guys want to see. Let's see, we're about 18 minutes in now, so this wouldn't be too bad. I've considered doing it on a stream, and that would have taken me probably about an hour, I think, just to build it straight. And let me see. It's tricky managing the weight on this. So maybe I'll build with ceilings and then I'll go up, and I'll keep those 2 separate. Different building parts. So get rid of that weight. And this is full, so I'll put it over here. So yeah, I think I'm just hitting the point now where if I keep doing this with you guys, I may lose interest. So I think this is where we go into fast forward mode. So I'm gonna have to find some good tunes, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the build. I'll see you when it's finished.
construction.
All right, I made it all the way up to the top here, and let me just show you real quick what I did. Let's see if I can pull out. So I might have to get on the trend on. No, I can show you. So there below is our widest level, the one that's 7 wide, that's supported on the corners with those extra pillars. And then we went up 2 of these 5x5 levels like that, with columns going all the way up. Now with this one where I'm at now, generally the layers, let me see, would stop, you go up 1, 2, 3, 4. So generally the next layer would have been here, but for this one what I'm doing is I'm wrapping around just a little bit more, just from how I know it's going to look down there, and I want this last bit just to be a little bit taller, kind of stretch it out a little bit. So instead of the next level up here, I'm going to go ahead and just put another ceiling, make sure I get the higher snap point, and then let's go ahead and build 3 of these walls up right here. 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to build them up 1 higher even, like that, really stretch out this thing. We've got a pteranodon stuck in here somewhere, I can hear it. Alright, and so now inside here, let's put a floor, because that would be a pretty big drop at this point. I wish I knew what to do with that interior bit. So now to get up here, I was trying to think of a way to do it with the slope so I could walk an animal all the way up, but there's no way that was really going to look good. So I'm going to put a hatch frame up here, and the most advanced tier I can make that out of is stone. So that's it. There's only a stone and a wood hatch frame, and so here we need a ladder so we can get up there. And then once up here, I'm going to be short, I think, 1 ceiling. Maybe not, actually. Let's see. Go all the way around. Boom. Oh, it's going to be perfect. There we go. And so now the whole framework is built. We're up here on the watch tower, the lookout, whatever you want to call this. Everything slightly different, but I won't talk about that either. So there it is. There's the full tower. Now I'm not done yet. Let's go ahead and take the dive. Splish. And I actually haven't seen what the whole thing looks like made out of the greenhouse glass and stuff yet, because there's no way I could do it and then take it apart. So there it is. I think that looks pretty cool. I can definitely work with that. It's definitely got a lower impact. You know, it's less solid than it was with the thatch and stuff. So let me go ahead and put the last bit on it now. And what I'm going to need is a whole bunch of these in here. I made them somewhere. Aha! These guys, the steel handrails. I'm not sure, actually. I should have figured this out already, how many I'm going to need. Let me see. I think I'm going to need 80. Oh, you're a level 50. 150. Not too bad. But last time that happened, it was a level 180, and that was worth it. And I already tamed that one. Alright, so I'm going to need 80, and I've got 31 made, so I need to make 49 more. Can I do that? Let's see. Craft amount. I love this craft amount thing. Oh, I can. And they take a while, so let's go ahead and get those making. And I'm not sure what this does for me. I know it helps the animals level, but every time I get a whole bunch of stuff crafting, I go ahead and pet the Lystro. Okay, so now let's see what it looks like with the handrails. I'll put the first level worth of them on here. And I also need to decide if I'm going to put them in those little corner bits right here. Right here, I'm actually protected that I cannot walk through, just because of the way the ARK is goofy like that, or Primitive Plus is, one or the other. But these are going to go all the way around. They don't really match up with each other. They got that tubular steel thing going, which is kind of cool. They don't match exactly on the corners either, but that's what we've got. So that's what we're going to use. Let's just go ahead. This will add a little bit more structure to it. and make it definitely look much more like a tourist location or something like that. I'm not sure what this tower is really good for. We're gonna definitely need to put some sort of light source up at the top at some point, maybe an artifact or eternal campfire or something like that. One thing I know that it's good for here is a big parking space for guest dinos in the village. We got a multi-level parking garage, if nothing else. Let me just finish up this last bit here. Alright, and then let's check that out. Yeah, that adds a little bit more structure to it. It's not too bad. So let me go ahead and finish putting that on the next 3 levels, and then we'll check out the final result and check out. So I'll see you in a second. Okay, so I got all of that done, and let's see if we can see what it looks like from here. And let me take the jump and whoop. Oh, gotta be careful with that. Let me go get a flyer real quick, and we'll take a better look at the outside. That's what it looks like. Alright, so that's what it looks like from across the water. It actually doesn't stand out too well. It's kind of subtle, more subtle than I thought, but at least it's not like ugly and overbearing. And let's go grab a flyer and see what it looks like just a little bit closer. Oh, and I got a level. Stamina. Almost always. So let's see. Yeah, so when I go where I can actually see the pieces rendered in, that's what it looks like. So, pretty basic, but it works. We've got our steel watchtower, lighthouse, dino parking garage, whatever it is, out in the middle of this little river here, this bend in the middle of this extra wide area, and that's what it is. So yeah, it's going to be time for the construction raft to move on to the next project, but we got something done that was pretty simple. Didn't take too long to build. It took way longer to make all the steel and get all the crystal and everything like that, but now it's there, and I'll cross my fingers that nothing breaks it. I don't think the steel pillars are going anywhere. Those are definitely metal tier. It's just the greenhouse glass that would be an issue, and actually something big would probably have a hard time getting into the center there and breaking the whole thing. Anyway, before this gets too long, I'm going to sign out. So this is Monkeypuzzle signing out here in the Puzzle Crypt Village. Got the new watchtower there behind me, and the rest of the village further back there. So thank you for watching until the end of this episode, and I look forward to seeing you all on the next one. Bye bye.